Okay. Hello, hello, all right. Hello everyone, I'm Kevin Kimes, and this is my map, my quest, and my journey. Basically, this is a roadmap of my life, how my academic life, a little about myself, and pretty much how I got here to UCM. So, jump right into it. All right, it's got to start somewhere. Some of you here know I was born on July 4th, 1989, firecracker baby. And a little sailor apparently too. I grew up in Overland Park, Kansas, suburban Overland Park, but I spent a lot of my summers at Lake of the Ozarks, so I kind of had people talk about Kansas and Missouri. I had pretty much the best of both worlds, I think. And had a very good childhood, had a very happy childhood. I was a creative, imaginative kid, and I had a good amount of friends, so everything was pretty good, but bumps in the road. Unfortunately, by contrast, academically, my life was not quite the same. When I was very young, I think I was maybe kindergarten or first grade, I was enrolled in the Blue Valley School District, and I became I was issued an IEP, which is Individual Education Plan. Mainly due to mathematics. I was not a good, math and me were not friends. I didn't get math, and they could tell right away, my teachers, that I was not, the regular academic structure was not my thing. And so they kind of, they had some resource teachers to help me, and while Blue Valley is a great district, unfortunately, not to knock them, they I felt swept me under the rug a little bit. Since I didn't quite fit the mold of a typical student, they had people help me and make sure that I got the grades that I was supposed to get, but a lot of times I wasn't learning everything I was supposed to. In a way, it's almost like I had a set of water wings. Instead of really learning how to swim, I put some water wings on me and, kept me afloat that way, which was okay, but didn't really help me in the long run. Oh, I should mention that a lot of them didn't think I was college bound. They told me, and even told my mom that a few times, which I found out later, which is a little shocking, but well, high school and early college. On the left there, that's Blue Valley Northwest, where I graduated in 2008. I wasn't sure really what to do. I had no idea what I wanted my major to be. I didn't even want to think about the future. It kind of scared me thinking about it. But I tried to make the right decision, and I ended up enrolling in Johnson County Community College, which is maybe a 10-hour drive from my house. So didn't go far. I didn't really know how to live on my own yet anyway. So I figured I'd go there and figure things out, and it was kind of a surreal experience for me. It felt like I said, I had those water wings. Well, I didn't have them here, so it felt like they took my water wings away and my support system and dropped me in the middle of the ocean and told me swim, even though I'd never really been taught how. So it was a little intimidating and a little overwhelming, but I managed to keep my head above water just enough, and I managed to get by. I had a few lousy grades here or there, but one way or another I survived. At one point, eventually, I found myself at a crossroads, so to speak, in my journey. I, like I said, was not sure where I wanted to go, and I knew that JUCO was a good first step for me to really get me into the college scene, but it was not an end-all be-all. I knew that it was just a community college and that I needed a real university. I needed somewhere I could go and actually get a degree and actually, figure out what I wanted to do. There was a few places I thought about. My father and my grandfather, my grandfather taught at UMKC for almost 30 years, Dr. Russell, and my father attended dental school there, so UMKC was way up there, but I didn't really I didn't have a good feeling about it. I didn't really like the area, and I thought about K-State, but that didn't want a big university, so that didn't work for me, and I remained kind of confused for a while. And like I said, just sat at those crossroads looking at which way to go. Wait, there's a university in Warrensburg. I did not know that. No one ever told me that. I've driven past Warrensburg a few dozen times, to a place at the lake. But for some reason, I never knew there was a university here. The lady in blue shirt there is my mom and her friend Kelly. They attended a concert here for David Cook, if some of you might remember He was, I believe, the 2008 winner of American Idol and a UCM alumni. They went to a concert, and after my mom got back, she knew I was looking. She was telling me, she goes, they held it at this really nice university there. I didn't even know they had it. You know, it has a real nice campus, and you know, I kind of was like, okay, Mom, sure. But like a lot of kids, I didn't really give her a second thought. But you know, I was still I was checked out the other ones and was unsure, and I decided to take her up on it. You know, her persistence paid off, and I took her up, and I toured the campus, and as little as I knew about UCM, I got a good feeling. I had a good gut feeling about it, and I thought, you know, who knows? You know, maybe there's something to this. I'm not generally a person who takes a lot of chances. I tend to be a cautious person. I always have. But out of my character, I decided to take a leap of faith. And in 2011, I enrolled here at UCM, the university that I had no idea was even here. And you know, I did a little research. The campus had a lot of direction, so I didn't get lost all the time like I imagined I would. And it had a very good reputation, and you know, everybody spoke highly of it. So I figured I'll give it a shot, and if it doesn't work, I'll try it. You know, I'll go elsewhere. But I'm very glad I did take the chance on it. Interpersonal communication. This was a class I had with Nikki Freeman. Nikki Freeman, Professor Freeman. I had her for a few classes. I had her for this and for small group communication as well. This was a very important class for me because I had it my first semester here, so it was both my introduction to the university in a way and really my introduction to the department. The thing I liked about her and the thing that struck me is she had a real unique approach to the way she taught. She would often defer from the typical, you know, structure where we'd all sit there. And one thing she did that really got my attention is she would, I'm trying to think of how to explain this. We would do activities where we would work together in a group to achieve a goal. We'd all have, like, I remember one of them, and there was a box sitting in the middle of the room, and there was a bunch of items sitting there, and we had like a string or a piece of rope or something, and we had to figure out a way, us as a group, to get every item, without touching it, using just the rope, into the box. And, you know, we had to work together and talk and go, okay, well, maybe we could do this, and some people would have an idea, and we'd go with that, you know, and different things like that. And then afterwards, she would parallel, you know, how it related to communication, how it related to us interacting as a group, and how that affected people in the real world. So I could really see the parallels, and I could see, you know, where it was going. Because academics wasn't my thing, but I could see the real world example, and that was a very good introduction to me. It really, you know, was powerful for me. Social influence, that I had with Wendy Geiger. I'd had Professor Geiger, there you are. I had her previously for rhetorical analysis, I believe, is the pronunciation, or the name of it, official name. I really liked her style of teaching. She was focused less on academics as well, and more on actually teaching us, which I had lacked for a long time, obviously. She described herself once as a personal trainer for your mind. Her job was to give your mind a workout, and that was one thing that stayed with me. And she was the perfect teacher for this class. In this class, what I would do is we would look at, you know, how we're influenced by our society in all its different ways. Like, we looked at the different mediums in the media, you know, television, radio, internet, you know, and how they would influence, and how we would be influenced by our interactions with one another. And it's interesting, you know, for the first time, I think I actually took what I was learning and applied it to my life when I wasn't in class. You know, I'd be sitting watching television or hanging out with friends, and or things like that. And I would start thinking, I go, well, I'm watching this. What is this saying about me? Or how is this impacting me? And how is this, you know, how is this influencing me, even without me realizing it? Because our society influences us, and we don't realize it half the time. We think, oh, I'm my own person, which you are, but it has a much bigger impact than you would realize. And that was one thing that, it was fascinating to me and really, stayed with me. And ultimately, it sold me on the department. I wasn't for sure, but, after taking that class, I'm like, yeah, it's got a little bit of everything that was interesting to me. It had a lot of writing, and I was always interested in writing, and it helped refine my writing ability. And, like I said, it's just sold me on the department and really, resonated nicely with me. And finally, like everybody else, listening with Professor Benton, once again, focused less on academics, more on us as individuals, which I thought was really cool. It was, it almost felt like therapy in some ways. It was, it's true. It was just, we talked about self-talk. It was a recurring theme throughout the class, and self-talk, what you're saying to yourself. I didn't realize how much the class would be focused on you as a person and how you communicate with yourself, the messages you were sending, and how you, a lot of times, are sending things that are detrimental to yourself, sending yourself messages that are detrimental. For me, for instance, this applied to academics. I was not confident with academics. I never felt like I was a good student. I'd been kind of led to believe that for a while. So I started changing the way I looked at school. I started, coming in with a cheerier attitude and, tackling my assignments, going, okay, I can do this. I just got to focus. I just got to, persevere. And it brought out an inner strength that I had, but I didn't always realize that I had. Sometimes it took a little encouragement, for me to bring that out in me. And it also helped me break out of my comfort zone too. I tend to be kind of an introverted person. I don't like to, I'm not the most social person sometimes, and I would go out of my way and talk to people and become a little more friendly and this and that. And a lot of that I really owe to the class, because I was going, oh, it's not a big deal. I can talk to people and I'm fine. Oh, and it, made me not only more confident in myself, but also I was more accepting of myself in a way. Good and bad, I am what I am, and that was a powerful thing. Well, what I got from the department, and I pretty much said everything. In a way, I have this picture here. It felt like I was given a GPS. I was lost in a lot of ways academically, and they gave me a path that I could take, and I was always struck by how open and how accessible the department was. They would, if I had a question about something, I could go talk to my professors, or if I was, even when I was enrolling in classes, they would look at me as an individual and they go, well, you seem like the type of individual who would be interested in this, so maybe you could go this way, or maybe you could try this out, or things like that. And it was really cool, because it wasn't just about school, it was about me too, and what, where I was going and what would work for me. So, like I said, really a breath of fresh air for me, academically, because I'd never really experienced that before. And it really changed my outlook, on life and how I approach things and how I view myself. The future, oh boy. Well, the future, I'm not a fortune teller, I can't predict the future, but whenever people want me to talk about the future, I'd always get anxious about it. I try and change the subject. I didn't want to get into it. I believe I have a bright future. I'm confident and excited about my future. While I don't know which way it'll take me, I know it's going to be good. I know things are going to work. I'm ready to tackle the next chapter in my life, so to speak. And and that a lot of that I really got from my time here, which I wouldn't have had otherwise. I have a little quote here from William Shakespeare. It's not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves. That really